What inspired you to be a body confidence coach?
It's not even inspiration, it's just like my story, just like my experiences. You know what I'm
Okay,
saying?
tell us about it.
I've times always been a fat black woman. Well, obviously a black woman, right? But I've always been hefty, thick, fat, however you like to say it, however you're comfortable saying it. Um, so there's always been that kind of conundrum of shopping or what looks good for your body type or, kind of all of the things that we're conditioned to
Okay.
believe through society, right? There's always been that sort of like, does this look good enough? Am I, you know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
In the back of my mind. But then I also come from a mixed family. So on one side of it, I was the darkest person. On the other side, I was the lightest. And I appreciate those experiences because it gave me understanding on how to communicate in different areas, different rooms, different
Right.
spaces and things like that, which helps me now. But it was quite difficult to navigate growing up because I had so many things that were naturally me that I had to question about my body, my size, right? My color. These are things
Mhm.
I can change my size, but like I'm naturally a bigger girl. Like that's just what it is. It turned into like, how can I feel comfortable in my body? You know what I mean? How can I do something so I feel at home here? This is where I live, right?
Right.
So how could it's almost like I don't know if you've ever like moved into a new apartment or even like a dorm room in college and maybe you don't unpack all the way because like I'm not going to be here longer. Even on vacation, right? You
Okay.
don't unpack from your suitcase all the time because you're not going to be there that long. And that's kind of how I felt in my body. I
That's very
hadn't
interesting.
unpacked, right?
Wow.
And it is because once you unpack and you start to understand, well, okay, my body is this way for this reason. My body specifically has helped me through this situation or shielded me in that situation.
Right.
It's really about finding an appreciation for your body and yourself. And once I was able to do that a little bit more easily, I understood the freedom. I
Wow.
understood what it could unlock for people,
Mm.
what it had unlocked for me.
Right.
And I really wanted to share that with people because I think that even whenever you're deemed as one of, society's nice looking people or,
Right.
you might check all the boxes or whatever the case may be,
Hmm.
you still have those battles, those
Right.
insecurities, those times where you question like, okay, is this right? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Do I look good enough? Am I good enough?
Mm.
I think a lot of times it translates from do I look good enough to am I good enough? So yeah, realizing that and the need for just body love, just learning how to love your body as a form of self love, a form of self care, as a form of healing, as a form of unlearning, right, and unprocessing what you've been conditioned to believe. So that's how it started. Well, that's I guess my experience and my journey. Realizing that I felt very out of my body and everything like that. It was a point I was actually sexually assaulted in college.
Oh,
And it was a
wow.
point where once that had happened, I was very much needing to just withdraw and figure myself out. However, I didn't have the tools to do that. I just,
Explain what you mean by that.
I didn't know how to heal. I didn't
Mm.
know where to start. I don't even think the thought of healing crossed my mind. I was just very reactionary. I mean, my self esteem was pretty low. Like I had said, I didn't really feel a sense of belonging in terms of even my childhood experiences at that point in time didn't age well with me. So,
Mm.
meaning like I grew up a certain religion in a certain church, and you know
Right.
what I mean? As time passed, I realized that the grace that I needed to love and understand myself
Grace.
was not there for me from that particular institution.
Okay.
Um, and so that made me question my religion, my spirituality. So at this point, I'm questioning that, questioning my looks and my size, right, and my color, and all of these things.
So let's go back. So are you
Mhm.
saying the assault made you question everything, or just you're having your
I-
developing your body confidence?
Right. I'm saying before that because whenever that happened,
Oh.
that's where I was mentally. So
Mm.
once that happened, it was really like I don't even know where to begin to start. Again, I don't even think the thought of healing crossed my mind. I thought that I was a victim, right? Which I
I was gonna
was.
say. So you're saying that you didn't feel like a victim?
I was very much in a victim mindset.
Mm.
So this happened to me. Why me? Very much in my feelings, and not that that's a problem, but it can certainly be a roadblock that stops you from moving
I
forward,
get where yep.
operating out of a place of like a victim mindset. You get what I mean? So
Yes.
taking that time to actually acknowledge your feelings is very important. I'm not saying it's not, but if you're stuck there, that can be a problem.
Right. And you're saying like that just didn't determine who I am. You're like, this happened to me, but this is not who I am.
Well, at first, no. At first, it was like this is what I'm worth, right? I believed that that's what I was worth, right? In fact, sometimes I share, and I'll share this with you. I remember thinking during my assault, like, at least he thinks I'm pretty enough to do this. Like, at least he thinks you know what I mean? And that's part of the reason why I let it happen.
I
So,
hear you saying, sorry not to cut you off, you saying let it happen. This was something that was forced upon you. This is not something you agreed on or anything like that.
right, right,
But
right,
at that time, this is how you're feeling.
right, exactly. Um, and almost like a you should be happy that somebody wants you type of thing, right? Which, yeah, it's a super, super low and lonely place to be. And that's where I was. That's kind of how I got into not even beginning to, I guess, think about healing because I was so far, you know what I mean, with the other experiences that I had. So when this happened, it was kind of like very reactionary, very much just like guard up, getting your turtle shell type of thing,
Right.
just coping and using things like relationships, shopping. I love to shop, right? So
Right.
that's one of those things where it's like, or even drugs, using those things to help me cope. And I'm just thinking, like, if you don't deal with it, it'll go away. If you don't, you know what I'm saying? Especially at that age. And I had never had a group of friends at that time or family members at that time who had shared openly about going through something like that. So, I'm just in the mindset of, and I'm ashamed, and I'm ashamed and
Going through all
embarrassed.
these emotions. Yeah.
Yeah, right, right. My school started suffering, and I was just trying, I was just hanging on, coping, just whatever I could just mentally wrap my mind around at the time, is what I would do. Go
Did
ahead.
you tell anyone? Because I know you're saying that you felt, ashamed and things like that. You felt like you couldn't talk to anybody. So did you finally confide in anyone, or you just kept it to yourself?
Yeah, I told my best friend first. I told her probably about a year or so after it happened.
Okay.
I ended up telling my family, primarily my mother and my father, because I was getting kicked out of school. And they didn't understand what was going on with me. But thankfully, whenever I did finally, break down and tell them, I was met with a lot of support, a lot of care and understanding. I think that was the beginning of me starting to truly process how that had, you know what I mean, how that had happened.
Yeah.
And of course, it took some time. I stayed out of school for a couple years, but I ended up going back. Once I went back and graduated, it kind of symbolized overcoming that space. I was assaulted in a dorm room. And that campus and just that era of my life, if you will, I wanted to start writing about feeling free, feeling liberated, and I wanted to uncover more about that. And
Right.
I started blogging. I got like the blogging is what started me moving into a space where realizing that healing is needed. It's not I was sharing about what had happened to me when I started writing on my blog. I was sharing about like my experience, how I felt, what I had went through. More people were asking. The feedback that I was getting was, "Well, what did you do to where? How are you there now? Like, what did you do to feel better?" And I started realizing like this is necessary. Healing is necessary.
That's when you
People.
start realizing that was
That's when
helping
we
you.
moved into the coach mind frame, like the mindset of like,
Mm.
okay, maybe there's something here that we can share and help people with.
Right.
Maybe there's something. And then it started with like how healing looks different for people, for women of color, for black
Mm.
women especially.
Okay.
How it looks
Explain what you mean by that,
because
if you don't mind.
I don't mind at all.
Okay. Because we keep it real. Keep it naked truth.
Absolutely. That it's naked. Appreciate that. What I mean by that is the journey to love and appreciation looks far different for someone with more melanated skin. And the
Mhm.
reason why is because there are far less resources and far less reasons to believe in this society that we are worthy of that love. So there's a lot more unlearning that has to take place for women and black women, women of color, but Black women in particular. There's a lot of self assessment, a deeper, in my opinion, self assessment that has to happen because not only are we, it's almost like translating in a language, right? You have to understand what you've been taught and take it back to what you know so it's not true. But then once you take it back to what you know, you still have to know it so that you can navigate through it without being affected. It's really, really a process. It's quite strenuous and very mentally taxing.
Yes.
And if you do not have that experience as a Black woman, as a woman of color, but again, I must stress, as a Black woman, it's really hard for the information that was put out for that to apply to us
Hmm.
because that process wasn't even like considered
Right.
as we talk about and develop what self-love looks like in this day and age, right? That was another reason, because there was no one that looked like me talking. There's people that look talking specifically about body love and how you have to unlearn and kind of reestablish your values and things like that. So coming at it from a perspective of, no, this healing journey looks a lot different.
Hmm.
How we operate in our culture, in our space, looks a lot different. Our culture is based on what we've been conditioned to believe
Right.
from people that don't look like us.
Mm.
So how can we then take all of that and heal? No, we have to, you know what I mean, take it all the way back, unlearn those things, and really understand how they've affected us, our mindsets, our relationships with ourselves and others, and in our community.
Right.
Because I think for Black folks, self love goes back to loving Black people, loving who you are in this society that we're in.
Right.
Kind of shades that, right?
Yeah.
Not kind of, like it absolutely shades that.
Definitely.
So it's kind of going against the grain in multiple ways. So that's why I say it's a lot different from just like, oh, I woke up and got my nails done. I don't hate to say it because it's not shade. It's not shade. I just can't relate. I just can't relate to that sort of journey. I need something a little bit more in tune with who I am, the history behind how we got here,
Right.
and things like that. And I just didn't see that. So I wanted to incorporate that in my writing and then moving that into coaching because I felt like there was really something there in particular for Black people to heal.
You found out you were helping other people and you didn't realize that you were helping yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I started writing because I wanted to like be accountable and like follow my journey. And you know what it really was? I really wanted a way to look back on how far I had come. Because a lot of times during the journey is long, the process is long. They keep telling us we have to trust the process, but that shit is long. It takes a long time. And then you might
Yes.
even have to go back and reprocess some shit. And being more accountable and in measuring my growth, honestly, I wanted a way to go back and look at, oh, I don't feel that way anymore. Oh, wow, look how much I've changed in this way. So the blogging really was like for me and a healing space for me and my accountability, but it ended up being a way to connect with women who wanted to heal, um, and didn't have the space to do so. It ended up teaching me a lot more than I anticipated, positioning me to understand things in a different way that I was not expecting to do. So, for sure, it definitely taught me things I wasn't expecting.
How did that feel when you realized there are people out there that actually went through the same things as I did and they look like me as well?
Yeah, yeah. I think that's one of the first times that I did feel seen. I think that's what helped me start realizing my power. I think
I
that
like
is.
that.
It's validating, right? But it's so deeper. It's deeper than that. It's a validation where it's like, okay, I'm not crazy or I'm not the only one feeling this, right? But on a deeper level, it's as sisters
Hmm.
have dealt with this and we can be powerful together. We can do this together. We can create spaces to heal. It did. It helped me start realizing what we can create, how the power that we hold, how necessary we are for each other, right? Because I needed them and they needed me.
Mm.
I don't want to say it like that, like, oh,
No, you're
but
right.
I needed them for part of my journey,
Yeah.
and at the whatever part of the journey, whoever I was speaking to was on, they needed me at that time, and it was an experience that without each other we wouldn't have been able to grow
Right.
in that way, or at that time. So, um, yeah, it made me feel like this is the beginning. Like, let's do
This is
this.
the beginning.
Yeah, yeah.
I love that. I love that for you. So, how are you feeling today now with all that trauma you've been through and you start helping people? Where are you at today?
Today's a good day. Thank you
Okay.
for asking. You know, it's a process, right? It's a process. And like I said, sometimes you have to go back and relearn something, or sometimes, you might forget, oh yeah, that's right. I can't be, or but what's interesting is the more you learn about yourself, the more you need to learn about yourself. The more you uncover about what you like, what you don't like, how you heal, whatever, have to learn about, because then it's like, okay, well, if I don't like that, what do I like? Or if I do like that, what don't I like, type of thing. So I'm absolutely still healing, right?
Right.
I
You're
don't
still healing.
know. I was actually just talking with my mom about this.
Hmm.
She said, I don't know that healing is like a thing.
Okay.
You can get better, right? You can get to a place where maybe you're not triggered or as triggered. At the end of the day, your experiences affect you, they make you who you are.
I agree with that. They do.
So you can't fully heal because that's how you grow into who you are.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? So it's not really a place of, there's no finish line. There's no like, oh, level complete.
It's a lesson you just
You
learn.
just, and you allow it to keep growing in your life. So yeah, that you can continue to learn more. And that's what I think. Maybe we'll say this. That's what healing looks like, but I don't know that I believe that someone can be healed in
That's
that
very
way.
interesting.
Yeah. My mom and I
Interesting.
were just talking about it. She's brilliant. She's amazing. I
Oh
love my
yeah,
mom so
I
much.
like her point of view. Yeah,
She's
she's
amazing.
dope.
Whenever she said that, I completely felt that. There's no particular instance in which we like, oh, you can pinpoint, oh, this is what I needed to heal from. Like I told you, even with my assault, there were other things in my life that had
Hmm.
affected me. I don't think I shared this either earlier, but I also had like a seizure disorder.
No, you didn't.
So that was another thing that made me feel out of my body, right? That was
Hmm.
another. So I had all of these experiences, and even without the seizure disorder, and there was a time where I was like in ICU. I had like several seizures. Like I don't know, it was like on 20 in one day, and
Oh my gosh.
yeah, I was in the intensive care unit and everything. The church that I went to was telling me that this is a form of demonic possession, and
Okay.
I'm a child. Like that, my first seizure was in first grade. So now I'm like questioning, like, okay, you see what? So
And
it's
now I get what you're saying about your religion. Okay,
yeah. So
gotcha.
now I'm sorry. I should have went into that a little bit more
No,
at the
I see where
beginning.
you're going.
But it
Okay.
was like how when God, I'm made in God's image, right? Y'all
Hmm.
told me I'm made in God's image. This is how God made me. I didn't do anything to get this to be this way. I don't understand why I have a brain disorder or why something's wrong with me. You know what I mean? You're telling me that, and places where I don't feel belonging in because of my skin color or because of, you know what
Hmm.
I mean? Because I'm not this enough or that enough, whatever. And my size. So, like, all of
All
the,
these things
right.
combined.
And there's no way to just pinpoint, like, if this didn't happen or if that didn't happen. No, like, these are my experiences. And I needed all of them so that I can understand who I am and what I hold within myself. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I think that's a full circle moment, but I also know that even in just talking about this, I feel my passion growing.
Oh, I hear it. I feel it.
Yeah, so it's not like I'm not triggered, right? So
Right.
so that's why I say that about the healing and things like that. I'm appreciative to be in the process. I'm grateful to be able to share it and to possibly help others in their process. I'm appreciative that we can continue to grow for sure.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love
thank you.
that. And what I respect about everything that you said, the fact that you weren't blaming other people. You were trying to figure out, okay, why am I not so confident in these areas? I think a lot of people don't do that.
I am the first to share. I have a very supportive family. Growing up, we talked about how we felt, we talked about our emotions,
Hmm.
we shared with each other. We had like, I won't say we were like the Huxtables, we weren't, but we did have like family meetings and like we were just in tune with each other. We've always been pretty close. And because my parents establishing that, I think I had an advantage with emotional intelligence and just being able to process things. My mom was also a school counselor, excuse me.
Shout out to Dr. A.
Dr. A, yeah, has always operated from a place of sympathy, empathy,
Mm.
and meeting people where they're at. And that just be my example think that heavily influenced the way in which I perceive things and move about them. And I'm very grateful and blessed to have that in my life, that support in my life. And her as an example, both of my parents. You know, whenever we would have these meetings or these conversations as a family, it was never, I never felt like unheard or like, you know, or even if I wasn't agreed with, you know, there was still like, let me think about this, process it, and maybe come back to it or something like that. Having that really did allow me to process things, I think, in a different way. And it equipped me to better navigate you know what I mean, some of the situations that I've been in. So I'm very, very appreciative of that. And that's another reason why I like speaking about body love. And I love group coaching because you have an automatic cohort. You have that support system of other people who kind of understand what you've been going through or how you've been needing to move. And you kind of have a space to just feel validated and supported. And again, we as Black women don't have those spaces. So, especially when it comes to things that are seen as not necessary, like healing or luxury or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those kind of things that are looked at as that we're not worthy to enjoy or receive or whatever. Realizing what that had done for me in my life is that's another reason. Like I wanted to offer that to folks. I wanted whatever privilege that had given me of having both of my parents and their support and allowing me to navigate that emotional stress in a different way than, or in a way at all, wanted to be able to share that because that truly is a luxury, a privilege, and something that I didn't do anything special to get. I just got it. You know what I mean?
Right. You were born into that. And
Right.
a lot of people don't have that
Right.
support. Being able to be that support person for somebody else, I'm sure that has to be a great feeling.
How that support can help someone see their power and when they come into that moment. Well, it's just like a glow, a light in the eye. Like that's what the most rewarding thing is, you know?
Right. Okay, so let's get into your self confidence and body coaching. What services do you offer?
Different workshops. I'm actually working on a boundaries workshop now.
Okay.
So we'll be launching that soon. I do one-on-one services. What I am best at is working with creatives and women entrepreneurs and professional leaders and helping them shift their mindset, deepen their self-love, and develop whatever creative project, right? Get in the mindset. Because I believe that the mindset you need of abundance, it doesn't, it starts with self and you have to have it for self, but it also greatly affects how you operate in other things, whether it's work, whether it's a creative project or a side hustle, whether it's your business, your brand, or whether it's honestly just communicating confidently in relationships or among other people.
That was actually going to be one of my questions for you. I was going to say, do you think that self confidence breeds success?
Absolutely.
So, yeah, you kind of answer that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Because I believe that confidence comes from a combination of self awareness and self truth. And when you are aware of yourself and you're honest with yourself, you're able to trust yourself. And when you're able to trust yourself and not second guess yourself, that's confidence.
Right. And people can see that and they can feel it. If you're confident within yourself, whether it's business, a relationship, and they can definitely tell when you're not confident.
Absolutely. You're second guessing everything. You're not moving in the best way. You're taking too many opinions. And it's something that you can, in the moment, say, nah, you got this. Keep going. You know what I mean?
Right.
And tuck yourself up through. When you truly believe in yourself, and you can't be, shook off, or, it's more difficult to shake you off or whatever, that you can't fake that. That's people can tell, people can gravitate to it. You start to align with different people in different situations. You start to believe in yourself differently. When people don't believe in you, at least for me, I'm not even mad at them. I'm just like, I hope that they're able to release those limiting beliefs at some point, like I was able to.
Right.
Because it's not even on me. It's not about me. It's a reflection of them and what they feel they're limited at. And I can't be responsible for that. That's too much heavy. That's too much heavy lifting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. So, how about self-confidence in a relationship? How important is that?
So important, right? Because
I think so.
In a relationship, you're choosing to live your life, build your life with someone else.
Okay.
So I think we all tend to have a different vision. And while it's cool to incorporate more to the vision you have. It's not cool to just change your vision for yourself based on something circumstantial in the moment. Not saying that it won't last, not saying that it wouldn't, like whatever.
Right.
But it's circumstantial in this moment. To center something without it making sense for you and your person individually is self-sabotage, in my opinion. Now that's I don't want everybody to be all up in arms. That's not to say that you shouldn't like choose your partner or accommodate your partner,
No,
consider their feelings,
saying.
but you absolutely have to be in tune with yourself.
Right.
What does
Make
Cat
the
Williams
best-
say? Your star player. Get in tune with your star player. For real, because that's one of those things that if you don't have that confidence, it'll shake you, right? It'll shake you off. You'll leave a relationship. Like, how many times have you like maybe talked to one of your girlfriends after a breakup and they've been like, I don't even know who I am anymore.
A lot.
Right. I mean, I personally have felt I don't even know who I am anymore. Who am I? What does Ari like? What do I do? Like, where do I begin?
Right.
And that is lonely. And you have to go through it by yourself because you're the only one that can truly understand what you need or
Right.
how you feel in the situation. Yeah, absolutely. Maintaining that sense of self, maintaining that self-awareness, deepening it. You know, I'm a big fan of therapy, Even if it feels like nothing's wrong, there's still stuff to learn about yourself. And, you know, if you're in a relationship, wanting to maintain your identity of, you know, who you are as a person, therapy is an awesome tool to do that with.
Right.
But, yeah, it's super important. I 1000% encourage people to continue doing what they like to do, have some me time, meditate, have a hobby that is a self-improvement hobby just for you, even different friend circles in some instances. To say, like, I don't want it to make it sound like I'm saying don't ever spend time with your with your partner, right? Like, that's not at all what I'm saying. Healthy. Yes.
Yes,
Absolutely.
and how healthy is that when you're changing who you are to be with someone else?
It's not healthy at all.
It's not.
At all.
What would make me think that that is okay? To change who I am, my body or the way I look at myself to please someone else. A lot of men I feel like are so into materialistic things and cosmetic surgery. I'm used to men being so into things like that and then trying to force you into it.
Wait, are you saying that men have asked you why you don't want plastic surgery? Or
No,
why you
or just
had
say,
it?
oh, I'll pay for this if, you know.
A few things I want to touch on. You kind of started talking about why did I do all of these things for this other person, right? And that goes into that accountability, to that self-accountability, that self-reflection,
Right.
and understanding who you are. And sometimes those things are really difficult to process because you have to face your flaws, or maybe it could, usually a trauma response. How you navigate now is usually based on whatever happened to you in prior experiences. A lot of times people don't take the time to even reflect on those things. What did I do? Why did I attract this energy? How did I align with this person?
Right. And that's why I said I respected about you, your
For
self-reflection.
Sure. The reason why, Courtney, is because if we don't do that, then you're going to attract people like,
exactly.
Hey, let me pay for your ass. Hey,
Yes.
you need your teeth.
Yes.
Hey. And it's like, hi, I'm a person, you know. But here's the thing, without that accountability, you aren't able to move in the direction you want to move.
Right.
Whenever you move in the direction you want to move, you align yourself with the things that are for you and important for you and best for you. Right. That accountability piece, without it, you will continue to be in a space where you're like, okay, why am I attracting these types of people? How did I end up here? Like, how did I get here? I think that part of it is just the way that I think as a person, but I've always been someone who wants to understand the system so that we can navigate it or use it to our advantage. I feel like when you know something and understand it, you can use it to, you know what I mean? So I've always felt that way about systems in America and about processes, honestly. Yeah, I feel like that self-awareness is key to understanding. And whenever you understand, you're able to navigate a little in the best way possible.
Right.
So I hope that makes sense. In my head, I wanted to tie it in a little bit differently.
No, I get what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, like when you said self-reflection and things like that, like you said, I had to take a step back and like, well, not a type of man that I would want to date.
Right.
Because a man that I would want to be with sees me for me.
Right.
Like they're not going to try to change me. I've been through that before.
Right.
So once I see anything like that, and it's It's like, no, because I'm comfortable who I am today.
That's what I was going to say. Thank you for saying that. Whenever you have that self awareness and you're able to navigate that differently,
Hmm.
you're automatically setting boundaries for how people should treat you because you're treating yourself this way,
Hmm.
right? So, just what you said, like, I've been through that. That's not my wheelhouse.
That's not.
So, that's your boundary.
Yeah.
And so, whenever people start to see that, people, like you said, they will
You can
sense
see
your
it, feel it.
confidence. They
Hmm.
feel that energy. And people see that and they're like, oh, I'm not even about to mess with her.
Hmm.
She don't get down like that. She ain't one of these. And there's something to be said, not saying that men are like this in general, but when a man wants to change or fix something, that's something that I like to call like hero syndrome, or
Mm.
but a lot of people call it like love bombing type of thing.
Mm.
And it may not necessarily be love bombing, but coming in to save someone, coming in to fix a situation. And I only call it that, I only like pay attention to that because that's something I used to do. I would put
Oh,
myself in a
wow.
situation to be the hero so that it felt like somebody needed me.
Mm.
I needed to be needed because I was scared that people would leave me.
Right. So we connect in that way, but mine's a little different where I realized I was attracting people that needed healing because for some reason I wanted to help people, but realized it wasn't in a healthy way.
Right.
I wonder, like, why do I keep attracting these people that need healing, these
Mhm.
damaged people? It's like,
Mhm.
Courtney, because you strive in life on helping people,
Mhm.
and maybe that's not the best thing to do.
Well, I think helping people,
It's fine. I guess I'm feeling the need that I have to help people is
because
the
are you
issue.
getting your self-worth from helping others?
Yeah.
So that might be part of, yeah, like if you're in a space where you're like, I'm you can feel fulfilled, you can feel validated, but that's not why you're worthy.
Right.
You get what I mean? Like, you being able to help people does not make you more worthy. You're
Right.
worthy because you're Courtney. You're
Right.
worthy because you're you.
Right.
You know, the fact that you help people just makes you the awesome person that you are,
Right.
but you're still worthy regardless. And so I think a lot of times, yeah, we use those things to feel worthy, to feel like we mean something or to get some type of purpose or meaning, but that's
Purpose.
still based in other people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not based on you.
It's not
So
healthy.
it's not gonna do what it needs to do, right?
Yeah.
Right. But the amazing thing is that even now you're able to speak on that and to put it in a way where not only you understand it and are able to navigate differently, but you're putting it out there for other people. Like, I bet you when someone hears it, they're gonna be like, I wonder if
Yeah,
do I
because
do that?
and it's back to what you said about self-reflection. I had to
Yes.
take a step back, like Courtney, because maybe you really want to help people in a different way that's probably not healthy for you.
Ooh, girl. See, now look, you self-reflecting.
Yes,
I love.
to really realize like you need time for yourself. You need to help yourself, and not
Yes.
in a selfish way, but in a way where I had to just figure out what was best for Courtney.
Right. And because here's the thing, if you don't give yourself your best, how are you going to give your best to other people? You don't have your best. If you don't give it to yourself, you don't have it. So how are
Okay.
you going to give it to other people?
Mhm.
How are you going to do it in a healthy way? Yeah.
Yeah, and then when people see that, they can take advantage of that.
Yes. And I think that's one of the things about being a healer, being a helper, however you like to word it. But that's one of the things about you. You are going to attract damaged people, right? You really do have to be super cognizant of how can I best navigate this situation so that I'm actually helping and not harming,
Mm.
And that's why unlearning comes into play a lot. That's why unprocessing comes into play a lot. That's why the process comes into play a lot because during that time, it may be a little bit of trial and error. And you know what I mean? And,
Right.
oh, I opened myself. I see what I did there. But as you continue to do it and to grow and understand, you know, maybe I do attract this type of person or that type of person because my energy is so right or because my energy is so pure.
Mm.
That doesn't necessarily mean that one, I'm the best person to help them or that
Mm.
I can help them in the way that they need help.
I love.
But a lot of
Girl, where
people,
you been? That's what I had to learn. No, I love that you say that because I had to learn that. Can't help everybody,
yeah,
and it's not your responsibility.
yeah. I actually made a TikTok and it was like, sis, you're a healer,
Mm.
not a savior. You are a healer, right? You can't save everybody. You're not Captain Save 'em. And you especially can't save people. This is what it is. Whenever you do that self-reflection, you have that accountability piece, you're able to discern those energies, right? You're able to recognize exactly what's off. And in doing that, I could help you, but you're committed to not understanding. So I can't help you. You know what I mean? It allows you to kind of let go of what you can't control in a way. And I think that, yeah, that's I think that's a lesson for like people who are in industries where they help people or heal people. I think that's kind of a process that we all have to go through, where it's like you naturally attract people. I've been in stores where people just come up to me, start telling me like, I just found out I have cancer. I did it, you know what I mean?
Me too.
And it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
because people sense that energy, like you said.
Yeah.
But it's like, because people sense that energy and it's so pure and people want it, we have to discern and we have to put that extra time and reflection into ourselves. So yeah, I'm glad we tied all that together because that's exactly it.
We here with that.
Yeah, for sure.
I love that. Let's end. I'm just flew.
What? End? What time is it, Courtney?
We need like another hour.
Girl, part 2. It's like, no.
Yes, seriously. So let's end with some body confidence tips. And then also after that, I want you to drop your social media tags.
Body confidence tips. Understanding that body love, body confidence is part of your self-love journey and necessary as part of your journey, I think is a big thing. A lot of people are like, oh, well, I like this about me, or I like, so I'm good. And I don't really, we have to do the body work. There's a particular part of your body that maybe you're struggling to love, or that maybe is a little bit more difficult for you to appreciate. I would say go hard and appreciate it. I used to look at myself naked in the mirror and just like caress parts of my body that I didn't necessarily see favorable. And I would just talk to them like they were like I was talking to my inner child, you know? You look good today. Look at you, girl. Look at you, belly. Look at you, thighs. Like, you know what I mean? And just hype myself up. I would also, if there's something that you focus on or like it's really hard for you to get past, like start focusing on the parts of your body that you do like. You know, oh, my butt looks good in these pants. My butt looks good in these type of underwear, you know? And that's all part of, it's kind of like on a smaller scale, the process of getting to know yourself, right? You're getting to know your body in that way, but that's still the same mindset and process that you would use to get to know yourself. Oh, I don't like how these look on me, so I'm going to start looking at these ones. Oh, I liked how those looked and I liked how those felt. Oh, I like that material. And those are things that you like, obviously you put on your body,
Right.
but those are things that also like help you dress up the best parts, right? And adorn your home. I would say is take the time, if you're able to. I understand time is a luxury, time is a privilege. If you have the ability to take 10 minutes to maybe make sure you do your skincare routine. I love doing my skincare routine because I'm literally putting nourishment, vitamins
into yourself,
into myself, and into my body. It reflects through my body because my skin be, you know what I'm saying?
Glowing.
Exactly. And I like how that feels. Take the time to pick out your outfit, maybe the night before or the morning, you know, give yourself enough time to actually put an outfit together. Not buying anything new, but, oh, I really like these shoes with these pants and these accessories, and put that shit on. You know what I mean? Dress your body up like you're proud of it.
Right.
Another thing I would say is maybe start unlearning that your worth is tied to your physical. That's a lot to unlearn. And it takes a lot of time, and I don't know that we will ever fully unlearn it because the way society is set up and the way that this country puts so much emphasis on the physical and the way we look. I think this is like the country that does it the most.
I agree.
Yeah, I think I read that somewhere, like statistically, like whatever percentage of Americans, it's like way higher than like any other country. They put the emphasis on the physical. And your worth is certainly not tied to your physical. No matter how you look, you're worth it. No matter how you look in that outfit, you're worth it. No matter how you look to somebody, you're worth it. realizing that the physical is not tied to your worth, but then also knowing that your physical is a manifestation of what's important to you.
Okay.
And by putting in the work for what's important to you, like for me, what's important to me is being gracious, is being able to extend grace to people, being empathetic, the heart work. I've worked on my heart, and I know that my body houses my heart, and my heart is good. My heart is pure. My love is pure.
I feel you.
Not that those things, I need those things to make me worthy, but that allows me to understand my worth in a deeper level. It's a lot of self-discovery, but those are some of the tips. That's where I would start. That's where I would tell someone, depending on where they were at with it. And then, oh, you said my social handles and everything?
Yeah, throw them out there real quick.
Okay. At the Ari Alex. So it's TheAriAlex. That's on Instagram. That is on TikTok, and that is on Twitter. And then Ari Alex or All Things Ari for Facebook. And my website is www.allthingsari.com.